everybody could keep their devices on mute. If there's anything that happens or mishap and you need me to go back to a slide, by all means, just jump right in and just ask if we can go back. You're welcome to take photographs of the slides if you'd like. We do have a chat box that you can ask any or write down any questions that you may have. And we will have a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So we could save all questions for them and look at some before and afters. All right, so let's get started here. When we think about what is old, what is new, and what's going to happen in the future, there are certain needs that we need as stylists in the salons. And as a manufacturer, we're looking to pass on those needs to each and every stylist across North America. So we know that there is a situation to analyze of timing, and the most requested services that are in the salon pertain to color right now. So to analyze the timing of color is really, really important, and especially during these historical times. So 9-minute color was introduced. It's not something that just got introduced because of what we went through as a country, but it was in the works for the past 2.5 years, and it was the perfect timing to release 9-minute color, enabling stylists to achieve 100% guaranteed results in just 9 minutes. So when we look at the loyalty of clients or guests that enter into our salons today, we can talk about color and the variables that encounter every day in our salons. And we know that there are 2 different types. We talk about the guest that comes in. She's your regular guest and receives color every 40 days on the average. And that is basically just coming in for a regrow touch-up. But we're also looking at the guest that comes in every 40 days of color, but 3 to 4 times a year, she's also incorporating highlights into that. So how are we approaching that? Is time of essence. And especially, like I said, during these historical times, we find it necessarily to provide services to our guests because people are feeling a little bit uneasy. They don't want to spend the time in the salons anymore, or for many of reasons. Time is money for them, and they need to achieve whatever services they're looking for in less timing. So when we look at the average across North America, we took an average of that on a haircut. If a guest walks into the salon, you're spending anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes just providing any type of haircut service. When you add a blow dry, you're looking at another 15 to 30 minutes. Color application, processing, all the way through shampoo and condition, you're talking 55 to 70 minutes. If there's lightning involved, you're talking about adding an additional 65 to 95 minutes of time. So when you tally that all up, we do take into consideration that some of these are fixed. The time is to develop the product, and then others are variables depending on the length of the hair. Understanding that time saving services are really, really important, and understanding that time is money, we've taken what we take presently now as classic color, and that's basically any oxidized color that you're using on the market today. And if we were to do a comparison, knowing that a color application should take at least 10 minutes, and that is a standard across the board. It's not something that we're just implementing with 9-minute color, but on any classic color service you do, we always recommend that 10 minutes to apply the color. Processing is 30 to 45 minutes. You're talking about 10 to 15-minute rinse out and shampoo treatment time, and another 15 to 30 minutes, depending if you're blow drying. So you're looking at a guest spending anywhere from an hour and 5 minutes to an hour and 45 minutes of time in the salon. Now, with 9-minute color, we can drastically cut that timing down by providing them with a total time spent in the salon between 44 to 64 minutes, meaning you can create more color services on a daily basis in the salon. And especially because of the limitations that are set upon us through state to state and CDC regulations, 9-minute color takes an important part on the services that we provide in our salon today. So we thought of the coloring products that can be a great help in some particular historical times. And in the future, we can cover those clients or guests who want to spend less time in our salons. Introducing 9-minute color. So I just want to play this quick video for you. So I'm just going to have to disconnect for 1 minute. All right, awesome. So there is some important key points in that video that came out that I think we're going to cover throughout this presentation. It's the first permanent hair color that guarantees maximum results in just 9 minutes. There are other color lines out on the market. Of course, we're beating them by a minute. When it comes to added time at the end of the day, if you add up all those minutes at the end of the day, you can provide another service in your salon. So what are our guaranteed objectives? We're talking about maximum coverage in a permanent color line, maximum duration. Colors will definitely fade on tone, and you're receiving maximum amount of shine in your colors. So with some key ingredients that we're going to talk about, we can guarantee all these objectives that you would want to provide on any color service given to your guests. So the technology guarantees the same results as permanent color with reduced time. Why? Because it is a permanent color. It's not to take away from the existing permanent colors that you are utilizing in your salons today. They can both live happily in the dispensary. This is definitely a color line when you're looking to reduce your timing process. It's ideal for regrowth touch-up, but we're also going to talk about how do we recoup tonalities or level, because there's two different recuperations. You're either going to recoup tone on mid-shaft to ends, or you're going to recoup a level on mid-shaft to ends. We can guarantee you maximum gray coverage, maximum color tones. Now, here's a really cool thing. We have 36 mixable shades. So it's not a large inventory that you're going to maintain in your dispensaries. Most importantly, the conditioning base guarantees protection for both the hair and the scalp. So when we look at all the permanent color lines that are on the market today and what they can offer, where is 9-minute color going to fit in our spectrum of color applications? So let's talk about what makes it so special. 9-minute color contains a greater quantity of pure color pigments within its formula. And because of that, we can obtain the results that we're looking for in just 9 minutes. Furthermore, let's talk about the process. Why is it so quick? Well, it's quick because every color has oxidizers in it. With 9-minute color, we have lower oxidizer content. And that will guarantee your quicker oxidation period. And you will notice that immediately when you mix it in the bowl. If you were to take your Creative Permanent Color or any permanent color line, mix that and then mix 9-minute color, you will notice that 9-minute color will start to oxidize quicker. That allows for a greater speed in deposit of tonality and color into the hair. And that's all based on the lower oxidizer content. We know that our 9-minute color is synergistically connected with the existing color line. So if you're using Creative Permanent Color, if you're using a semi-permanent color, any of the directs or the creams, you can incorporate 9-minute color into the family of portfolios of the z.one concept. So ideal for regrowth touch-up. So when we think of the long processing times for color We know that that depends on the compulsionary development and the time of a color, um, which is applied to the regrowth areas to cover the grays, to lift natural color, for whatever. 9-minute color is a perfect application for the natural areas of the hair. We can also be useful when it's talking about that word toner. However, we're talking about recuperating tone at the mid shaft to the end. We're not suggesting to use 9-minute color as a toner on pre-lightened hair. It's whenever we're looking to recoup 2 to 3 levels, or also to recoup tonality at the mid shaft to ends. So how are we going to guarantee these excellent results out of the hair? We can give it to you through the amazing performance of the color, but most importantly, the proof is in the pudding. You want to see the results. You want to see your reds to still be fiery. You want your blondes to be buttery, and you want your chocolates to be decadent, all your brunettes. But most importantly, if we think about the majority of guests that enter into the salon today, when it comes to gray coverage, they want optimal results in order to create the coverage that they need. So maximum color tones. On the contrary to color that uses this technology, Milkshake 9-minute color is respecting the processing time and synergy with other colors. So from the Milkshake range, we can guarantee shiny color that is true to the color chart as well as the tonal series. This is just a little bit of tidbit of information, but I definitely go around North America and I teach colorists and stylists alike to remember one thing. Whenever transitioning somebody into a new color, whether it be 9-minute color or whether you're transitioning somebody from a color brand to another color brand, always look at the tonal value and try to recoup tone for tone versus level for level, because levels tend to alter when you are going from brand to brand or from color portfolios to color portfolios. So with 9-minute color, we have 11 tonal series. So when we think of other oxidized color, the tonal series which is best suited for gray coverage is always the natural series. We made that important because you're going to notice in our 9-minute color, we are dealing with more naturals. If you are presently using Creative Permanent Color, you will know that we have the natural series and the more natural series. The more natural series are a little bit more intense. They have more natural tone to them. They come into play whenever working with gray coverage. One thing I want you to notice about our color wheel that we work with, we definitely, if you look at the center of that color wheel right in here, this is telling you, it's almost like looking down the center of a cone. The deeper down you look, the deeper the tonality of the cover will be. This center circle right here will guarantee you 100% maximum gray coverage by utilizing these shades alone. Can you intermix them with the fashionable shades? Absolutely. But if you're concentrating for gray coverage, any one of these shades can be used by themselves in order to get the maximum amount of gray coverage. When we talk about the outer circle with 9-minute color and our Creative Permanent Color, we talk about fashionable shades. These are the ones that create those tonal values of your coppers, your golds, and your mahoganies. They, when we would prefer to use them to get gray coverage, are always suggested to be intermixed with the center circle with our natural series. However, if your percentage of gray falls below 30%, you can use this outer circle on its own. This only comes into place when we're looking at 30 to 70 or 70 to 100% gray coverage. So our tonal series, they're represented by a number code and also a letter code. The series of more naturals would be represented by the decimal followed by a 0. So for letter formation, we're talking about an NN. When we go into our ash series, we both have our ash series and our intense ash series, which are dominated by a double number or a double letter. We have our beige. The number that falls before the, the number that falls immediately after the decimal would be the predominant tone in the hair. So when we look at our beige series, it is an ash gold. So ash would be the predominant tone. Gold would be the secondary. Our golden are predominantly identified as a decimal and a 3, copper 0.4, mahogany 0.5. Our red series are always identified as a 0.6. Now here's where things switch at Z.one Concept versus any other manufacturer. Some other manufacturers refer to their violet series as a 0.2. In our portfolios across the board at Z.one Concept, and that would be followed in our smoothie semi-permanent, our creative permanent color line, our no inhibition permanent color line, or our milkshake 9 minutes color. We represent it by a 0.7. So 7 is referred to as violet in the milkshake family. Our mochas, which fall under our brown series, are referred to as a 0.8. You will notice that we also have a 0.81, which is basically a brown ash. Our chocolate series can vary depending on what the first primary color will be. So for example, we have a 0.31, a 0.14, 0.16, and a 0.41. So in our chocolate series, we go everything from a gold ash all the way down to a copper ash. If you are looking for more of the coolness in the tone, then we would recommend a 0.14 or 0.16. They represent as an ash copper or an ash red. Our coffees, which are beautiful on their own, are represented by a golden mahogany. This is a great nuance to intermix in with your more natural series whenever you're looking to get some really nice golden mahogany reflex in your more natural tones, possibly your 3Ns, your darker browns, all the way up to your light browns. And in this, I believe we start that at a level 6, so it would be a 6.35. So gray coverage is the most important thing when it talks about color. Of course, you want your reds to be fiery, like I said, and your blondes to be buttery, and most importantly, your chocolates and your browns to be real decadent. For maximum gray coverage, the shades from the fashion series, like I mentioned before, must always be mixed with your more naturals. That means that this outer circle should always be intermixed on percentages wise, whether it's 0 to 30% gray coverage, 30 to 70, or 70 to 100. If we are talking about 0 to 30, like I mentioned before, you can choose your fashion shade on its own out here and apply that to your regrowth area and receive excellent maximum results on its own. If you are looking at any gray coverage between 0 to 70 or 70 to 100, we recommend intermixing it with your natural series. Or right over here, you'll notice here are your chocolates, your mochas, your coffees. They will give you adequate gray coverage if you choose to use them on their own. However, if you're dealing with something that's a little bit more of a resistant gray, you might want to intermix them with your natural series that are placed right over here. So a minimum investment for maximum return. How do we identify that? How do we look at that? Because at the end of the day, especially during these historical times, everybody wants to invest, whether it's time, whether it's money. They want that to be minimum, but they want the return to be maximum. We always want more out of our return than we're getting in our investment. We can provide that for you. So like I talked about earlier, there are 36 mixable shades. We know that 9-minute color chart was created to guarantee the presence of the main shades and tones necessary. And by having a reduced number of tubes of colors, we can still guarantee perfect balance between the different levels within the chart. So we have 36 intermixable shades. We provide you with a chart of 24 mixing ratios to give you a total of 36 colors or 36 nuances. However, I don't want you to stop there. I want you to take this upon yourself. They are intermixable shades. You can utilize the suggested mixers that we provide for you, or you can intermix to create the shades that you are looking for. And I think it's most important for us as colorists to be more creative and to take that initiative to create our own intermixable shades that we choose. So here's what we're talking about. So you'll notice that this is a photograph copy of the swatch chart that we presently have. This particular swatch chart happens to be the paper swatch chart. The book swatch chart will open into a fourfold. And on this chart, there's a couple of things that I want you to be aware of. Of course, we have all of the instructions and ingredients on the back of the chart, and also the mixing ratios, suggested emulsions, key benefits about the color, all of that information. Right down here, you will notice that there's a list of tonal families. Again, we present a color chart in there so that you can see where all of our colors lie within the color wheel. But right up here, you're going to notice that over here, that there are identifications by a single dot of a pink, a light pink, or right up here, you'll notice that there is a notification by a dot of a violet or purple base. What that signifies is that within 9-minute color, if you were to check over at your creative permanent color chart or your smoothies chart, there is a corresponding color that will signify that if you are presently using creative permanent color and you want to switch your guests over to 9-minute color, it's just an easy referral to let you know that there is a corresponding color in the other color books from the other portfolios of color. Right over here, I took the liberty of putting this onto this slide. These are the 24 mixing ratios that we provide for you. So if there is a shade, for instance, 7.13, any of our beige series that you are looking for, and you notice that it is not present, or 6.13, for example, is not present, we give you a mixing ratio on how to create that. Again, this is what I talk about. Don't just stop with the 24 mixing ratios that we provide for you. You can create your own mixing ratios as well to create more nuances within a portfolio of 36 tubes of color. Maximum care for the scalp and the hair. There's a couple of reasons why. When we talk about our conditioning base that guarantees healthy hair, there are a few key ingredients that have been placed in 9-minute color that slightly differ from creative permanent color. One, first and foremost, is biofermented daisy extracts. This is creating an antioxidant action for the hair. Natural honey, which is not unfamiliar to Z.one concept, is what we utilize in order to have that soothing and protective properties in the hair. You know that we use amino acid complex. It's a plant-based keratin, which contains 18 amino acids that we can replenish back into the hair. And hair can consist of anywhere between 20 to 23 amino acids in the hair. We can replenish 18 of them back into the hair. It's all derived from wheat and soy, and it does have an antioxidant and protective action. And then, of course, our blueberry extract, which is considered to be much more hydrating and nourishing, providing that actions and, of course, soothing to the scalp as well. But one more thing that I want you to understand is that, like our creative permanent color, we do have molar balancing in our 9-minute color as well. So molar balancing is the balance or technology that balances unwanted color pigments in the hair so that color can copulate together. And if there's an overpowering of a certain pigment in the hair, it will just diminish it. So you don't get any brownouts and you don't get any depth of unwanted color pigment in the hair. The reason for the daisies is because of the biofermented daisy extract. We have created an innovative active ingredient that we extracted from the daisies in order to place that into our 9-minute color. So newer technology that we do is hypofermentation. And basically, hypofermentation is allowing us to go in and really increase the efficiency of phytocomplexes. So enhancing the development of the new oxidant system between all the proteins and the amino acids. So you'll notice by the scale through this new technology, it enables us to give the guaranteed results that we are providing within our 9-minute color. So hypofermentation versus biofermented daisy extract. Hypofermentation is the process that we go through in order to create that for you. So by the process of this fermentation, we can release a series of beneficial substances for the scalp and the hair. And we're increasing that, by 28% when it comes to the phenolics and the antioxidant properties, 15% on antioxidant power. Now look at right here, 176, we're increasing it percentage-wise on the amino acids and proteins that supplement the hair. And that's during the restructuring of the hair, to allowing the hair to stay healthier, be more supple, have more shine and more strength. And again, another added 24% in the flavonoids with a strengthening action to the hair. So this whole fermentation process, the biofermented AZ extract, is a plus for us when it comes to 9 minutes color. Mixing ratio and processing time is really important with 9-minute color, and something that we try to go over to instill in all of our colorists, because it enables you to understand what the ratio is that you are mixing, what the processing time, and why is that processing time so important. So we don't feel the need to add any more oxidizing emulsions. So we are utilizing the 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume with a mixing ratio which would be chosen according to the use and the desired results that you are looking for. So when we think of our regular series, excuse me, that's everything that we talk about, and that's not in our high lifters. So anything that you are utilizing at a level 10 and below, our mixing ratio will be a 1-to-1, unlike creative permanent color where it's 1 to 1.5. The mixing ratio will guarantee a much more creamier consistency for better application and for the color to adhere to the regrowth area and the hair strands of the hair. So if we are mixing 40 grams of our 9-minute conditioning permanent color, then we would add 40 grams or 40 mLs of our milkshake oxidizing emulsions. And we use 10, 20, 30, and 40. Those are the mixing ratios. You are going to notice when we talk about our emulsions, how that's going to shift which emulsion you use, 10, 20, 30, or 40, depending on the end result that you're looking for. However, when we talk about our high lifter series, a 12.11 series, the mixing ratio will now increase to 1-to-2. This will give you better mixing power and better control of the high lift series. You would need the added emulsions. We also recommend that it is only mixed with 40 volume when we talk about our high lift series in order to get the levels of lift that you're looking for in a high lift series. So the oxidizing emulsions of 10, 20, 30, and 40 volume are according to the desired levels of lift that you're looking for. We know that the synergy between milkshake oxidizing emulsion and milkshake 9 minutes creates a perfect blend for an ideal viscosity. And that's that creamy consistency that I was telling you about, so that we can guarantee that this color is going to adhere to the hair and give you the ultimate results that you are looking for, especially when it comes to the regrowth area. So the concentration and balance of the colorants, the pigments, and the reduced processing time gives milkshake 9 minutes conditioning permanent color a slightly less potent lift than regular traditional color. And what is important are that there are certain guidelines or suggested to optimize the choice between your color and your developer. So your developer or your emulsions are going to take an important role when it comes to the desired level of lift that you are looking for. Because we do know that 9 minute color, because of the lower oxidizers and because of the colorants that are placed in it, the quantity that is placed in there, the lift is going to be less potent than you would get with traditional permanent color. So here's where things switch up a little bit. With the 9 minutes color, this is how we suggest. If you are looking for greater deposit in color, we recommend 10 volume. It's combined with your milkshake 9 minutes color, it'll give you the maximum pigment deposit into the hair. Whenever, and in creative permanent color, when we talked about 10 volume, and most people always think that, well, 10 volume gives you 1 level, 20 volume gives you 2 levels, 30 volume gives you 3 levels, 40 volume gives you 4 levels. However, when it comes to a color line that has lower oxidizers in it, that's going to shift a little bit. We do not recommend using 5 volume with 9 minute color. We start at 10 volume. 10 volume again will give you greater deposit of pigment. When it comes to 20 volume, if you're looking for up to 1 level of lift and grade coverage, we then recommend 20 volume. If you're looking to create 2 levels of lift as well as grade coverage, then we go up to 30 volume. And when we're looking to create 3 levels of lift, but especially when we are working with any ultra blondes or our high lifter series, then we recommend 40 volume emulsion. Usually at this volume, when you are utilizing it with our high lifter series, 40 volume is the recommended suggested volume to use with the high lift series, and you're going to see that the timing is going to be slightly different with that. So let's talk about a couple of important things. Contrary to the classic color, the chosen volumes do not affect the processing time, which is always 9 minutes for the normal series and 20 minutes for the high lift series. So think about that. Predominantly with classic permanent color lines, you are processing anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes on your normal series and 45 to 60 minutes on your high lift series. Now with 9 minute color, you can get the ultimate results in just 9 minutes. And for high lift series, you can get your ultimate result and deposit of tone in just 20 minutes. Application. So application is really, really important, and the intensity of the final results will be due to the correct application. We know that for the color that requires such a rapid development, And for its coloring action, it's essential to think about a couple of things. Application time, the area that requires the application. Is it the regrowth area? Is it the mid-shaft? Are we needing to refresh the ends? And most importantly, the processing time. Now, here's one thing, and it's kind of funny when I talk about this for application time. We're just talking about the amount of time it takes you to apply the color. 10 minutes is a standard application time across the board when it comes to applying color to a regrowth area. It is important to make sure that you get that color. This is not something that was just designed for 9 minutes color. It is just standard across the board when it comes to applying color that you should try not to exceed 10 minutes. It is important to get that color on the regrowth area and apply that 10 minutes. And a lot of people will say, well, you know, there's different lengths of hair. Yes, on shorter lengths of hair, it'll get applied much quicker. But when it comes to 9-minute color, it's important to take that a little bit more seriously for application purposes. But we do know that the regrowth area of the hair at the scalp between the color applications, this is the area that is natural, and so it absorbs less color. That's why one of two things. One, your application is really, really important. And two, the consistency that the 9 minutes color has been mixed with at a ratio of 1:1 allows for a better absorption of color to that regrowth area. However, the color treated areas, which already have a cosmetic color, they can be a little bit more porous. So if the processing time is extended, you know, that can create a little bit more depth of tone or what we call color blotches, depending on the porosity of the hair. We know that 9 minutes processing time, which always starts at the end of the application. So after you've applied that color for 10 minutes, you automatically start your processing time. And it is an absolute advantage for time saving in the salon when you think about that. So when we think of the extending processing time to increase that color saturation phase, which may intensify your final result, you need to take that into consideration. If you start to leave this color on longer, you are going to get a deeper saturation of color, which might end up in a result that you're not looking for. With that being said, yes, 9 minutes color is slightly on the progressive side. It's a progressive color. That's what's making it work so fast. You will end up with deeper, darker results if you start to time that too long. So a couple of things that's really, really important is to optimize your color application. And we do know that it is important for us to choose the most likely experience daily in a salon and what happens in the salon. And there's a couple of things that people or our guests come back with in the salon. They need to have a tone recuperation. Not only are they getting their regrowth area down, but the tonality of the color from mid-shaft to end has slightly faded, and you just want to recoup tone. Possibly the client comes back, and when they left originally and you applied the color, they were at a level 5 or level 6, and now they're coming back, and the mid-shaft to the end is a little bit more porous, so you're losing levels. You lose one level, and that level 5 can now get down to a mid-shaft to the ends of being a level 6 or a level 7. How do we recoup that? Or in worst case scenarios, some of our guests are losing up to 2 levels, possibly 3 levels. They need to recoup level and tone at that point because of many reasons. We don't know what they're treating their hair with at home. Are they using flat irons all the time? The color is just not staying, or the porosity of the hair is a little bit more in jeopardy and they're losing level. So we need to recoup level and tone at the same time. So 3 different things that we need to do: either recoup tone, recoup level, or possibly recoup level and tone. So there's 3 scenarios that you would take into place. So when it comes to 9-minute color, all right, the recommended procedure would be to use 9 minutes color at the regrowth area. You're going to process that for your 9 minutes, rinse it, cleanse it. Now, if you choose one of the 2 different areas to recoup tone, we recommend that you could either use in our portfolio the milkshake conditioning direct colors. So after you've rinsed and cleansed the hair, then you would apply your chosen milkshake direct color straight from the bottle. You can intermix it straight from the bottle onto the hair, or you can create a cocktail by mixing it with the original whipped cream, and that will slightly dilute that direct tonality, and apply that to mid-shaft to the ends. Do your timing process, rinse it, condition, and rinse it again. However, you can also help to increase your retail sales. And you can also, if you are just looking to recoup tone, we also created the color whipped creams. Those are the original whipped creams, but they have color pigment that are placed with them. They come in a violet tone, a red tone. They come in warm browns, cool browns, beige, also a golden blonde. We just launched out 5 new ones. So you can use any of those color whipped creams and apply that mid-shaft to ends on the hair and leave that in the hair. You don't have to rinse that out. That's something that you would apply at your styling chair. So as it's showing you right there, that we can also use the color whipped creams. We could apply it mid-shaft to ends after we've done the whole 9-minute process of the 9 minutes color, shampoo them, cleanse them, brought them back to our station or our styling area, and then applied color whipped creams mid-shaft to ends, leave it in the hair, no rinsing is required, and created the perfect combination between 9 minutes color to your colored whipped creams. It's just an added touch. You could implement it into your service and then send them home with the colored whipped creams. Right here, you'll see the original color whipped creams that we do have at Z.one Concept, and now we've just launched out those added 5 new shades into our portfolio of color whipped creams. So it's just another added way to increase your retail sales, increase your ticket in the salon, but most importantly, whenever you're just looking to recoup a little bit of tone, especially when it comes to mid-shaft to ends. But what about that guest that has lost a level at their mid-shaft to the ends? We prepared 2 different blends at the same time. So what's important to realize, I always recommend that whenever we're working with mid-shaft to ends, that you're to utilize a semi-dem or demi-permanent color, one of the 2. For us, milkshake smoothie semi-permanent color is what I would recommend to be utilized at the mid-shaft to the ends of the hair. However, it is understandable that we do know that our stylists that are out in the field do use a creative permanent color or permanent color line also to recoup any type of level mid-shaft to end. It is just my suggestion to use a semi-permanent color. However, when you are doing this, you need to keep in mind that timing is of essence here. So you want to make sure that you prepared your 2 different blends. So in one bowl, you would prepare your 9-minute color to get applied to the regrowth area. And then you would mix in another bowl your smoothies or any semi-permanent or demi-permanent color that would get applied to the mid-shaft to ends. So the process you would take is apply your milkshake 9 minutes color on the regrowth area, starting your timing process, and then apply your milkshake smoothies or your creative color, permanent color over the lightened area, that area from the mid-shaft to the ends that has lost a level of tonality in there. And you must have at least 5 minutes left of that. So if you started to apply that mid-shaft to ends, you know that you can recoup a little bit of that level within 5 minutes left. You would rinse it, cleanse and condition, and of course, give it one more rinse after your conditioner, and then proceed with your styling. Now keep in mind, this is only when you're recouping one level. But what about that hair that's really porous? You've lost 2 to 3 levels and you need to recoup level and tone. This is when 9-minute color can be applied right from the regrowth, lengths, and ends. So you would prepare your 9-minute color, you apply the 9-minute color on the regrowth and immediately on the lengths and ends. So you can pull that right through. Process for only 9 minutes, rinse, cleanse and condition, and then rinse it out again and prepare for your style or bring them back to your styling station and proceed with your blow dry or haircut, whatever you choose to do. It is important to realize that 9-minute color, because it does contain lower oxidizer, will deposit quicker. So when you are looking to recoup 2 to 3 levels and tone, 9-minute color is the perfect choice to go from scalp to ends. Okay, so a couple things to pay attention to. The mixture of the lengths must not contain natural shade. All right, so what does that mean to you? Well, if from mid-shaft to ends, and what we're dealing with a lot is a lot of ombre, a lot of balayage. If you're only looking to recoup some of the tone in the ombre, then possibly 9-minute color would not be recommended to go out mid-shaft to ends. If the mixture of the lengths does have that natural tonality into it, and you're looking to shift that level, well, that's not going to happen at that present time. You're going to deepen the color. So what you would need to do is apply your 9-minute color from that regrowth area and to any of the areas that you see the natural shade. And then you can go back and use your either your direct color with a whipped cream or your smoothies or your colored whipped creams on that pre-lightened area, if there is pre-lightened areas at the mid shaft to the ends. So here's a special guest that's in the 9-minute color. I know a few of you are familiar with the clear that is in our Creative Permanent color. We do have a clear within the 9-minute color. It follows in the same technology as the existing nuances. However, it does not have any colorants in it. So clear can be utilized in 2 different ways. Unlike the clear in the Creative Permanent color line, with clear in 9 minutes color, we can either desaturate color or we can utilize it to create another half a level to a level lighter by utilizing it with our mixers. Clear also has a greater alkalinity compared to the regular shades. So when it's mixed with other colors, it's utilized to increase their lifting strength. If you're choosing not to go from a 20 to a 30 volume or 30 to a 40 volume, we can also implement clear. But clear takes a big part when you are looking to desaturate color in order to create other tonalities or nuances in your colors. So to desaturate, create a lighter level or of a shade in particular. So we can mix up to 50% of the total quantity in our mixture. So for example, your natural color is a 5 light brown. The objective color is to go to a 741, which is considered a 7.41. It's a blonde copper ash. In the color chart, there's only a 6.41. So we can recommend that you use half milkshake 9-minute color 6.41 with half of the clear, and then using your oxidizing emulsion at a 30 volume. Keep in mind that your mixing ratio will be 1 to 1. This will be able to create a 7.41 for you. Oh, I want to go back to this one for 1 minute. I want you to realize the first question people would ask, well, I'm starting at a level 5, but you're telling me that I'm going to lift 2 levels. Keep in mind that when it's talking about lifting up to 2 levels in 9 minutes color, we're recommending 30 volume, and 20 volume at that point will only give you a half a level to a level of lift. To strengthening the lifting power, it's important to keep into consideration that we also recommend to use clear if you're working on coarse or resistant hair types. Because with coarse and resistant hair types, you need to really open up that cuticle a little bit. And with the higher alkalinity in clear, it enables you to do that. So we always recommend to use a quarter of the total quantity of clear in our mixture. So if we are trying to create a objective color at a 7.0, which is our natural, and you're dealing with a natural color of level 4, coarse and resistant, the mixing ratio will be 3/4 of your 9 minutes, 7.1. The reason why we're recommending 7.1, which is our ash blonde, is because there's going to be some unwanted warmth at a level 4 that you want to slightly counteract. And also by utilizing clear, you're creating that little bit more potentness of the alkalinity in it. So you possibly want to eliminate some more warmth. You're going to mix that with your 30 volume. And of course, the mixing ratio is 1:1. So as we're coming to the conclusion, before we get into some questions, I wanted to share with you a couple of before and afters that were sent by stylists to us. So you'll see that Sharon utilized the blonde. Now in this blonde series that you're going to notice right over there, the formulation to that color, Sharon used our level 8 and 9.1 with 30 volume and just processing time at 9 minutes in order to create that beautiful blonde that she was trying to create, keeping the blonde at that level. And if you look at that percentage of gray that is on that model's head right up top there, she is definitely in the range of 70 to 100% gray. And Sharon was able to get that ultimate result she's looking for. Sarah's client fell in between 30 to 70% gray, and Sarah chose to use our 4 natural series. So by utilizing the naturals, she was able to get the gray coverage that she was looking for, and she also applied this with 10 volume in just 9 minutes. Cheryl wanted to maintain the lightness and the ombre effect that this young lady had mid-shaft to ends, but she did need to recoup some of the tonality because the tonality was starting to orange out. So what Sharon did was, in order to create some of the depth at that regrowth area and to create a little bit of some lightness in there, Cheryl chose to stick with the 3N, which is our dark brown in the natural series, and use 30 volume. All right, so by using 30 volume, she applied that to the regrowth area, kind of fanned it out a little bit down to the mid-shaft to ends, and then went into the mid-shaft to ends with our smoothies and applied smoothies mid-shaft to ends, just utilizing the Ash series and a 6N in the smoothies, just to recoup a little bit of tonality to warm that back up a little bit. I'm sorry, to cool that back down a little bit. And she was able to create that with 9 minutes color and smoothies. Now, Joan, you know how I talked about the 3-5 series, which is our golden mahogany. It is a great series. So Joan, and if you look at the regrowth area, she again falls in between a 30 to 70% gray area with 10 volume Joan Intermix 5 NN in our natural series with 6.35, and that is our light brown mahogany. Yes, light brown golden mahogany. Equal parts, 10 volume, 9 minutes to the regrowth area, and then in the last 1 minute by the shampoo bowl, she just lathered that out all the way out to the end to create that beautiful tonality, keeping a beautiful warmer brown without worrying about darkening it up mid-shaft to end. That happens to be one of my favorites, the first one and the blonde, because I think that enables us to intermix colors whenever looking, when you especially are looking at a 6.35, which is a golden mahogany. To intermix that in with the natural series creates that beautiful reflect of warmth to the hair. So when we talk about our marketing positioning, who are we marketing 9 minutes color to? I think it's important for us to realize that first and foremost, it's ideal for your touch-up services. It's not something that we're telling you, oh yes, every guest that walks through the doors of your salon, you're going to apply this mid-shaft to ends. It was created for a touch-up service to provide your guest with less timing in the salon. Definitely for the client without a booking. So if somebody just happened to come into your salon, you notice they had a regrowth area, they didn't book for a color. With these historical times, we ultimately would have to refuse them because if you don't have the timing available on your book. But now with 9-minute color, you can ideally create a color service in your salon. My girls are presently doing it in my salon. From the time they check in to the time they check out in 45 minutes for a complete color application and blow dry. And most importantly, it was ideally created for a quick service. It's 9-minute processing time, 9-minute color for clients that don't want to spend that extra time in the salon. That was the ideal reason of why 9-minute color was created. Most importantly, not to take the place of any of your existing permanent or semi-permanent color lines that you are presently containing, but synergistically to work together. It is a perfect color line to carry in every dispensary in order for that one client that happens to walk through the doors of your salon. And most importantly, I encourage our stylists to upgrade their tickets when working in a salon, especially because we are taking less clients than we are in our previous time, and we don't know when we're going to get back to that situation, or if we possibly are going to get back to that situation. This is a perfect way for us when we have a client that's coming in just for a haircut, or just for a blowout, or possibly for a treatment, how we can upsell our tickets by creating a 9-minute color service in the salon. All right, so that's bringing us to the end of the 9-minute color presentation. I want to open this up. We can look in the chat box as well, but I invite everybody to unmute themselves and ask any possible questions